In today's program, we will be talking about the regional and national security concerns, the security situation in Pakistan, regional players and their contributions to the current scenario. Clashes between Lashkar-e-Islam and Ansarul Islam continue to claim lives in the Khyber Agency. The bodies of the 17 slain SC security personnel have been reclaimed and laid to rest, while the militants are threatening to kill the rest of the security personnel in their captivity. On the other hand, both India and Afghanistan are blaming Pakistan's intelligence agencies for the suicide attack against the Indian embassy in Kabul, which left 58 dead. While in Afghanistan itself, the security situation is rapidly deteriorating. The militants are aggressively attacking US and ISAF forces every day. To better understand the security situation in the region as well as their political concerns, we are joined in the studios by founding consultant of Brass Tacks, Mr. Zayed Hamid, and senior journalist Tahir Khan. Sirs, welcome to the program. Mr. Khan, I'd like to start with you. What has gone wrong, so seriously wrong, in Peshawar? Have we totally lost control of one of the 4 provinces of this country?
Amrit, let me make it very clear. Nothing has gone wrong in Peshawar. The headlines that you were hearing few weeks ago that Peshawar is about to fall and Taliban at the gates, as far as Peshawar is concerned, total nonsense, absolute crap. I would like to make it very clear that you are, we as a nation are being subjected under a massive psychological warfare operations. We are being demoralized. We are being put into a frame of mind which suggests that this country is going to disintegrate.
Right.
Nothing is going to happen like
that. But then when we hear about operations and we hear about, militants coming into Peshawar...
Let me tell you the reality of those militants. You see, the militants who were coming into Peshawar is a small group of Mangal Bagh. He is just an ordinary highwayman, a criminal, a brigand who is basically involved in robbery and almost like highway robberies and or western raiders coming into the towns, grabbing booties and going back. He has no higher objectives. He's got no support and following around in that area. And he is already bogged down by in a massive sectarian fight between his group and the opposite group that is there.
Right.
Primarily it is a Deobandi Barelvi fight that is going on the Khyber Agency. And once the security forces decided to polish them up, it took them 24 hours to push them back into disappearances. They don't exist anymore.
Okay.
So this is the reality of the perception that was being given by the media that Peshawar is about to fall. Nothing is going to happen like that. I would like to take you even behind. Why did I say that we are being subjected with the psychological warfare operations? Primarily, it's a low-intensity conflict against Pakistan. Whatever is happening in the tribal areas, the support to the insurgencies, which are almost turning into high-intensity conflict with Pakistan Army going into the areas trying to subdue the militant groups which were rebellious. Then this perception of Taliban taking over the areas of Swat and right from the south of NWFP going up to the northern areas.
Right.
All this needs to be understood in a proper perspective. Let me clarify these things so that everybody understands the reality of the situation on ground. You see, there are 3 Talibans. People only use the term Taliban, but I would like to clarify here that there are 3 distinct categories of Taliban. One Taliban are the Afghan Talibans, who are the genuine freedom fighters who are trying to liberate their land from a foreign occupation.
Okay.
Afghan Taliban, no matter, anyone can disagree with their ideology or harshness or whatever, but under every international law they are fighting a war of liberation. They're trying to liberate their land.
Right.
They have no global objectives. They don't want to wage another 9/11 in America or anywhere else in the world. They don't want to declare a war against the state of Pakistan. There is not a single statement from Mullah Umar in last 8 years or the Afghan Taliban leaders that they consider Pakistan as an enemy state as well. They do not. They're only trying to liberate their homeland. Simple as that.
Right.
Then there are other Afghan commanders who operate in Afghanistan, like the former jihadis of Gulbuddin Hikmatyar, for example, and Jalaluddin Haqqani, who are not Taliban, but they are Afghan resistance fighters who are primarily again giving resistance to the Americans and have got nothing against Pakistan as such, have not committed any act of terrorism against Pakistan. The recent fighting that has been going on in Afghanistan is primarily focused in Kunar regions. That is the area where Hikmatyar is operating. That's where the Americans are taking the maximum of losses. The other two types of Taliban which we are talking are the Pakistani Taliban, and amongst them are also 2 categories. One, Pakistani Taliban are hardcore terrorists who are sponsored by Afghans and Indians and who are waging a war against the state of Pakistan, the group of Baitullah Masood.
Okay.
The other Taliban are those who are fighting Baitullah Masood and not against the state of Pakistan.
But they are working for the state of Pakistan.
They are working for the state of
protection their
Pakistan,
identity.
but their only grievances with the state of Pakistan is that they want to wage a war against the Americans in Afghanistan, not against the state of Pakistan.
Right. Which brings me to my next question. We have groups like Lashkar-e-Islam and Ansarul Islam, and now we have a Pakistan Taliban section, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. So where have all these groups, all of a sudden we have these 3-4 strong militant groups who are armed, who have training coming up in the tribal areas and northern areas of Pakistan. So where are their roots and where are they getting their funding from?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Funding has never been a problem for Mujahideen, for Islamic groups, for these Taliban. And these Taliban, yes, they are Pakistanis, but they have roots with the Taliban in Afghanistan. And you cannot separate these people, especially Baitullah Masood.
Right.
And even his rival, Maulvi Nazir, who is Wazir and this man is Masood. And the other people who are in North Waziristan, like Hafiz Gul Bahadur, separate group now, Hafiz Gul Bahadur and Maulvi Nazir, they have now a new faction against Masood. But there's rivalry or there's enmity is only based on the local things. Because when Maulvi Nazir, he led a Lashkar against the Uzbeks in South Waziristan.
Okay.
That was the main reason between the enmity or the rivalry or anything or the differences or dispute between Masood and Wazir. Your question about the funding has never been a problem. Some people asking questions that from where they are getting these weapons.
Right.
Weapons have never been a problem.
Why has there never been a problem? That's my question.
Yes.
I mean, like, where is it coming from?
Yes, because Pakistan had been a base against the Soviet troops in Afghanistan. Pakistan had been a center for 10 years when the Mujahideen were fighting against the Soviets.
Right.
There was no shortage of weapons.
Right. But that was 20 years ago.
And I am telling you very interesting thing. Hikmat Yar spokesman and his son-in-law, Ghairat Bahiz, was arrested from Bagram Air Base. Now he's in Islamabad. I met him a few days ago in Islamabad in F10, and I asked him what were the main questions when you were questioned by the Americans.
Right.
He was telling me the major question, one of the question was, where are the Stingers? Where are the heavy weapons Americans themselves gave to them, to the Mujahideen?
Right.
Just coming to your question, in fact. So the weapons, there are the huge weapons still exist in Afghanistan, and as I will tell you that now the movement of the people from our area to Afghanistan, it is still continuing. There is no doubt in it.
Right.
So these people are still mixed. Yes, he's right to say that the Afghan Taliban, they are fighting to liberate their own country. But why Afghanistan is continuously blaming Pakistan? This is the main thing, that the people are going, according to them, from here to Afghanistan.
Right.
So going and coming, this is a tradition, this is and it will continue. No one can stop it. So the weapons, this is no problem. Traditionally, tribesmen have the weapons with them, and you can now easily buy weapons in Darra and everywhere.
Right. But not like the modern weapons. We are talking about, shoulder based, weapons that are bringing down gunships, that are bringing down, entire bases of the US military. Where are these weapons? These are like new, latest, modern equipment.
If you allow me, to add to that,
yes, of course.
Whatever my friend has said is true. There have been various weapons which remain remnants of the former Soviet Afghan era. But there is absolutely no doubt, the intelligence reports, the assessments, our own contacts on ground confirm it to us that now Russians and Iranians are heavily funding Afghan Taliban movement.
Right.
There is absolutely no doubt. You see, the Pakistani Taliban, even if they are crossing over, the weapons are not coming to these people from Pakistan's side. The weapons are coming from the Afghan side.
Right.
So either they are coming from Afghan Taliban to their assets, or to those assets who are fighting against the state of Pakistan, they are being sponsored and patronized by the Kabul government. There's no doubt. You see, in Parachanar, for example, this area, access to Parachanar has been blocked by Taliban due to this sectarian fight.
Right.
The entire food supplies, equipment, weapons, monies, everything to Parachanaris are now coming from Kabul. The route from the backside is totally open. Similarly, all those tribes and militant groups who are fighting against the state of Pakistan, they are being given equipment, weapons, money, supplies, detonation devices, explosive, hundreds of tons of detonation devices and explosives are
We're
coming.
hearing about mines blowing up, people dying.
Where are they coming from? This is not the remnants of the Afghan Soviet era. This is new technology. This is something that's coming very latest. The frequency hopping wireless sets, the remote control devices, this was not existing. This was not present during the Soviet Afghan era.
And I seriously doubt that, you could have such backup or such large supplies surviving over such
This
a
is
long
what I'm
period of
telling you.
time.
Even the technology is latest. The technology is 21st century. It's not the technology that we used to have in Soviet Afghan war.
Right.
I mean, this technology was not used in that time, did not exist. And as you said, the Stingers of the old time are not able to shoot down the latest 21st century American aircraft. They've got the devices to protect themselves against. You see, so these weapons which are shooting down the American aircraft are very, very latest. These are weapons, heat seekers, which can bypass the American modern defensive gadgetry installed into their aircraft. So this is a different mindset we are talking about. It's a different environment we are talking about.
Altogether.
It's a different ball
Which
game.
brings me to the next question. The government of Pakistan has been, we have tried both options. Two options were available. We have tried both. We've tried the military option. We've tried dialogue. Apparently, to all extent and purposes, both have not provided the kind of results the government was expecting. Where can we go next?
You see, the third step has already been taken, I guess, is the mistake that the Pakistan had done initially. Let's evaluate from ab initio, from the beginning where we went wrong. Pakistan did not make a distinction between Afghan Taliban and did not make a distinction between Al-Qaeda. Americans were after Al-Qaeda. Pakistan should have made a distinction. Afghan Taliban were not our enemies. They had not done anything wrong to us. So we made a terrible mistake, but now it is time that we correct the imbalance. Pakistan straight away should embark on a decision that was taken between Pakistan and Afghanistan during the peace jirga, that a jirga will be formed between Pakistan and Afghan government, and they'll start talking to Afghan Taliban. See, let me tell you one thing. Afghan Taliban are now a reality in Afghanistan. For the first time in 8 years, Afghan Taliban have started fighting positional wars, which means hit and run tactics are over. Positional wars have begun. There's a front line of NATO and there's a front line of Afghan Taliban. Now a regular war has begun in certain segments, particularly in Kandahar, particularly in Khost. So you cannot write off Afghan Taliban. The moment Pakistan starts to talk to Afghan Taliban, the influence of Afghan Taliban on the local Taliban is so intense and so immense that the temperature in our tribal areas will start to go down. Will start to go down. And the second thing is that there are tribes, the militant groups which are loyal to, as we said, loyal to the state of Pakistan. Pakistan need to support these groups to neutralize those groups who are anti-state, who the 70 suicide bombings last year and massive suicide bombing campaign this year is being done by one group, one ideology, one mindset, which are Indian and Zionist assets, which are supported by Afghans from the backside.
So we need to basically corral those people.
We need to corral those people. It is already being done now. You see what is happening is, scenario on ground is on the North Waziristan a militant group and a South Waziristan militant group has now begun to corner Baitullah Masood. This killing of the FC people has even sparked an unrest and anger within the people within various areas as well. So now people are ganging up against Baitullah Masood.
Because they are the locals.
They are the
local people who families.
This is what needs to be done.
When we say, sir, that we want to talk to the Afghan Taliban, but yesterday or a day before yesterday, I believe the Afghanistan government has said that they have suspended all talks, all negotiations, and they've said that we will basically not sit at the same table as Pakistan. How do we resolve this particular dilemma?
The problem is with the Afghan government. In fact, Pakistan, Afghanistan and NATO and Americans, we have a mechanism to raise all issues if they have any complaints about Pakistan's role. But what Afghanistan has been doing over the past few weeks or few months, and the statement directly, it's very strange, the Afghan president directly charged Pakistan intelligence agency. When the blast outside the Indian embassy, so immediately in the same day there were two statements, the same day, without going through any probe or any investigation. The first was from the spokesman of the president office, and he said, and he indirectly blamed Pakistan later. And the second was from the Interior Ministry of the Afghanistan, the same words. So it means there is still mistrust, and this is very, very unfortunate steps that the Afghan government say that they will not hold talks with Pakistan. In my opinion now, blaming Pakistan on for all issues has become a tradition in Afghanistan, and the people and the high-ups, even the president, they consider that talking against Pakistan maybe they benefit them. So this is the problem. And the second thing is, we have lost all our friends in Afghanistan. He was referring to the Afghan Taliban, their weekend stuff. We stayed at the back of the Taliban. We handed over Afghan ambassador to Americans, and the same ambassador, Mullah Zaif, says in his book, he was handed over at Peshawar airport formally, and one line was the American forces, the second line was Pakistani army, and his clothes were removed. He was nakedly dragged into a helicopter from Peshawar airport to Bagram.
So basically we have cut our way back to the
Afghan. And I told you the Hikmatyar son-in-law, his spokesman, Ghairab Bahir, because these people to some extent had been loyal to Pakistan or not enemy of Pakistan, but we made these people also enemy of Pakistan. That's why the Northern Alliance, no doubt that they are the enemy of Pakistan, but these people were not. Our policies, yes, there would be some sort of pressures, foreign pressures, and the government also